Hello amigos, welcome back to another episode of Los Artilleros. As you're probably aware, or you should be aware by now, Mexico have released a roster for an upcoming training camp, which is going to be going on from the 19th to the 23rd of September. And I just want to talk about it. I've got the roster up here. I thought I'd just pick out a couple of players from the team that I think should be there, shouldn't be there, and talk about players that aren't there that should be there. So when the roster was actually first released, the first thing I did actually was look at the goalkeepers, because I think Mexico are kind of approaching a bit of a problematic era when it comes to goalkeepers. Obviously, as we see, Guillermo Ochoa has been called up, and of course he was. Obviously, he's based in Mexico at the moment with Club America, so that helps. I don't think any of the players from abroad are going to be involved in this camp or in the upcoming friendlies. Ochoa, obviously, he's not had a great time at Club America. He's been alright, but he's not been great. He's not been as good as we all thought he was going to be. That's for certain. But he's still daylight. There's daylight between him and the next goalkeeper for Mexico, in my opinion. We've also got Hugo Gonzalez, Jonathan Orozco, and Talavera. Out of all three, I think Gonzalez is probably the closest to Ochoa in terms of ability. I really love Jonathan Orozco, though. I think he's one of my favourite goalkeepers in Mexico, non-Chivas goalkeepers. Although I would love to have him at Chivas at this point, but that's another debate. Goalkeeping wise, it's clear now that we're starting to get to a bit of a point where Ochoa's form is dipping now. I think terminally, I don't think he's ever going to be the Ochoa that we've known and loved for the last 10 years or so. It has to be on everyone's mind now as who's going to take over Ochoa as number one. I probably think it's going to be Hugo Gonzalez. I think with Jonathan Orozco and Talavera kind of filling in here and there. But then again, we've got at least a couple decent goalkeepers coming up. We've got Sebastian Giroudo. I think he has a way to go though. Giroudo, should I say? I think he has a way to go, in my opinion. He was doing alright, and then he kind of dipped, and he hasn't established a first team spot for his club yet. So there's him. There's also Acevedo. I think Acevedo, absolutely should have been part of this camp at least. Him and Godinho. I'll get into Godinho in a minute, but him and Godinho, I think, represent the future, the real future of the goalkeeping position in Mexico. Acevedo a little bit more. Coutinho's form's really dipped this season. He's just making stupid errors. But I still think he has the potential to be absolutely class for Mexico. I would have liked to see at least Acevedo in there. I think the more chances that he has with the national team, the more preparation he's going to get. And I think these national team camps, I think all the players learned something from it, So that was the goalkeeper's position. Moving on to the defence, there's a couple of strange appointments in there. Going into the standard ones, you've got Gallardo, Montez, Rodriguez, Salcedo. They're all standard. I was expecting to see at least all of them in. But the one I'm really kind of confused about is Miguel León. I've been a fan of León for ages. I love the fact that he was at Watford for a while. I wish he could have stayed there, but I think he's past it now. I think he's taking a spot that could be given to a younger player. We do have a decent amount of young left wingers, or left wing backs. And I would have liked to have seen them. Angulo, for example. There's a whole load I could go through. Artilleros, although Artilleros is abroad, so he was going to get through. But I don't know. I think there was more younger players with more potential that should have gone in there, in my opinion. Moving into the midfield, we've got Alvarado, Bertrand. Beltran and Tuna, I'm really happy with them getting called up. Beltran because I think he's going to be a top midfielder for Mexico in the future. I think the more chance he gets again with the national team, the more he's going to learn, the better player he's going to be. The Mexican national team are going to be playing a lot of games the next year or so, so he's going to get a lot of opportunities to learn from players that have something to teach. So I'm really happy with Beltran. Antuna as well, he's off the field issues. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. We've moved past it. He's moved past it. He had a really good last game with Chivas. I think he kind of deserves it. He deserves it at least to be a part of the squad, to be in the consideration for the final squad for any game, in my opinion. He's pacey as hell. He needs to work on his end product, but he has scored a goal already, so I'm really happy with those two. Moving on, Uribe Pineda. I think it's one of those standard players that Mexico are going to call up. Should be in Europe by now. I think him and Pizarro especially should be in Europe. I would have loved to have seen him at a Lazio or PSV or a quality, decent, maybe not top, but a decent European side. It's a bit of a shame, but he's still one of Mexico's best midfielders in my opinion. So so he's always going to be there. And then we go to the forwards. I just want to say, going into the forwards, Santiago Jimenez from Cruz Azul. I mean, I'm so happy that he's part of this squad roster. I think he could be special. I haven't seen too much from him, to be honest. I don't really watch Cruz Azul games unless we're playing them. From what I've heard, what I've read, what I've seen on Twitter and YouTube, he looks quality. So hopefully, again, similar to Beltran, he can learn and soak up as much information as he can and become a better player for these rosters and to be a Mexico stalwart, So then going to the forwards again, Macias, Henry Martin and Vega. I mean, I'm happy with all three of those, to be honest. Henry Martin's been having a really good season for Club America. He was a bit quiet for a while after he moved there, but he seems to have really nailed a spot in that team now, and he's one of Mexico's best strikers in Mexico. That's what I mean. And then obviously you got Macias and that Vega. I mean, my opinion on those two guys. I think they're going to be absolutely class for El Tri. Macias as well. I think he's the closest striker to take over from Raul Jimenez. I mean, Jimenez is going to be Mexico's #1 striker for at least probably 3 years, maybe 4. If he keeps going the way he's going and, injuries and stuff. But Macias is close, and I think the more chance, again, that he has with the Mexican national team, the better for he will be, and the better the team will be. And, I'm so happy with Vega. He's my favourite player at the moment. My favourite Mexican player in Mexico. Definitely my favourite Chivas player. I can't rave about him enough. I think his quality, he reminds me a lot, it's a bit cliche, but he reminds me of Alexis Sanchez. But the difference is that Sanchez was a bit more of a wide player, whereas I think Vega's best position is in the middle up front. But they're both built, they're both physical, they both get the ball, keep the ball, run. They've got the skills to get through defenders, and they've got end product. So I'm really happy that he's got a call up. I hope that he gets to play in these couple of games that are coming up. I'll be very interested to see how he does. I'm very interested to see how the whole team does. We haven't seen Mexico play for it feels like a year now with this whole COVID mess. So it's really nice to have Mexico back. I mean, I try not to think about the dangers of COVID and travelling and, clubs, members of clubs having the disease and things. So I try not to think about that. I'm just focusing on the fact that we've got football back, we've got international football back, El Tri's back, and it gives us a lot more stuff to talk about. So I hope that wasn't too long-winded for you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of the roster. Who do you think should be in there? Who do you think shouldn't be in there? From my opinion, I think Efrain Alvarez from LA Galaxy absolutely should be in there. I don't know why he isn't. He's been absolutely amazing for that team. I mean, he's what, 17 now, 18, and he's already a first team standard player. Um, yeah, I'm just a bit disappointed that he's not in it, to be honest. But do you guys agree with that? Let me know. Yeah, give us a like as well, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll be back for another video very soon. Take it easy, guys. Adios.